Ever feel exhausted from smiling at people who aren't genuine? Notice that the more you socialize, the more drained you feel. If you're nodding, this article is for you. Smart people don't network indiscriminately. They're not antisocial. They're selective. They understand that being alone and at peace beats being in a crowd of phonies. In today's society, everyone preaches that your network is your net worth. But smart people know not all that glitters is gold, and not everyone who gets close has good intentions. They choose silence over schmoozing, distance over forced friendliness. And that quiet withdrawal, that's the highest form of wisdom. If you've ever felt depleted by meaningless relationships, let this be your permission to step back. Part 1. Maturity. Means solitude is a privilege, not a punishment. There comes a point when you realize being alone isn't scary anymore. It becomes your best friend, a precious space where you can breathe, think, and be authentic. When we're young, we fear loneliness like the dark. But after enough bruises, we realize solitude actually illuminates our soul. Only in stillness can people truly develop themselves and cultivate inner strength. In youth, we fill emptiness with noise, friends, parties, constant plans. But the longer we live, the more we realize some noise makes us hollow, and some people only drain us. At that point, being alone isn't isolation. It's a choice for stillness over chaos, peace over pretense. When you sit alone, you hear your own true voice. You understand what you want, need, and should keep. That's why experienced people are quieter, speak less, and choose friends carefully. They don't need anyone to fill a void. They need space to heal. This world is full of people who fear being alone, so they run toward crowds. But the more they run, the further from themselves they get. Smart people stop running. They listen and embrace silence. They know solitude isn't a wall. It's a mirror reflecting maturity. When you learn to live well in solitude, you stop fearing loss, because you found the most important person, yourself. Don't see loneliness as a curse. It's a gift wrapped in awareness. And when you understand yourself, you don't need to please the world. Because when you're at peace with yourself, the world naturally becomes less noisy. Part 2. Too much socializing drains your energy. Sometimes you're not exhausted from work. You're exhausted from people. Not from lack of time, but from meaningless conversations that tangle your mind. Smart people understand that maintaining distance maintains peace. We're social creatures easily influenced. Every conversation is an energy exchange. Some people make us lighter. Others drain us just by being near. Knowing who to get close to and who to avoid is emotional intelligence. People who socialize excessively don't know when to stop. They get pulled into gossip, bad-mouthing, drama. These petty things eat away mental space, leaving no room to live for yourself. Smart people keep distance, not because they're cold, but because energy is precious and can't be spent carelessly. Keeping distance means setting boundaries to protect inner peace. Smart people say no to meaningless meetups, decline show invitations, stay silent when things don't concern them. They don't need to appear everywhere or please everyone. The simpler your social life, the lighter your life. You don't guess intentions, don't fake friendliness, don't endure half-real relationships. You choose people who let you be yourself. Few, but enough. A small, genuine circle beats 100 fake connections. When you maintain distance, you control your energy. You're not controlled by others' words, not dragged into drama, not wasting emotions on unworthy things. Distance helps you see people's true nature. Smart people don't need to be at every party because real value isn't showing up often. It's knowing when to disappear. Part 3. Silence is how smart people observe. Some think silence is weakness. Actually, silence is understanding and maturity. Smart people don't talk much because words are double-edged swords. Used right, they illuminate. Used wrong, they cut. They withdraw not to avoid the world, but to observe it more clearly and deeply. Those who truly understand life usually speak less. They don't argue to prove they're right, don't speak loudly to be heard. They understand silence is sometimes the sharpest answer, and observation is the wisest speech. In a world where everyone wants to show off, people who choose silence are different. While others showcase, they listen. While people rush to react, they stand still and watch. Thanks to this, they see what others miss. Looks, tones, behaviors, small details revealing people's true nature. People who withdraw aren't afraid of crowds. They know how to hide to emerge at the right time. They observe like patient hunters, silently waiting for the right moment to act precisely. That composure helps them go further than the noisy ones. People who talk a lot reveal their hearts. People who stay silent make others guess. The power of silence. It makes others lose control. When you don't speak, others can't read you, don't know what you're thinking. That's the advantage of those who understand life. Withdrawal also protects energy. They don't invest minds in gossip, don't drift with praise or criticism. They step back, not to weaken, but to see the full picture. Silence isn't avoidance. It's seeing life from a higher level. Part 4. Smart people. Avoid drama, not people. Many misunderstand those who socialize less, thinking they're snobby or unfriendly. But the truth is opposite. The smarter people are, the more they avoid collisions, not from arrogance, but because they understand most relationships are just meaningless drama dressed as networking. Experienced people have tasted enough bitterness from hustling. They understand not every relationship is worth investing in, and not everyone who approaches is genuine. Among friendly faces, some hide daggers in their smiles. Mental energy is the most precious asset, and smart people preserve it. They avoid pointless gatherings, empty conversations, idle chatter that kills time. They choose staying home reading, walking alone, or sitting quietly at coffee shops, because quiet time clears the mind better than fake celebrations. Many spend youth trying to fit in, pleasing others, thinking more connections mean easier life. But then they realize many relationships don't make you stronger, just more tired. Among those interactions, how many genuinely want you to improve versus just being there for their benefit? Smart people understand life doesn't require knowing many people, just being known by a few the right way. They choose silence when conversations veer into gossip, choose to step back when relationships become toxic. For them, stillness isn't escape, it's a fence protecting peace. Avoiding socializing isn't rejecting the world, it's choosing a more peaceful world. Smart people don't need to appear everywhere or be in every conversation. They just need to maintain a calm mind, pure heart, and clear head. Part 5. Living discreetly is self-protection. The longer you live, the more you understand. Being authentic isn't always rewarded. The more genuine you are, the easier you get hurt. Truth often makes people uncomfortable, while fakeness gets welcomed. Smart people learn to live discreetly, not to be fake, but to protect themselves. People who live authentically get hated easily because they don't pretend. They don't flatter, don't follow crowds, don't put on shows. But precisely because of this, they're seen as difficult or stubborn. Meanwhile, those who say what people want to hear get praised. Smart people don't change their nature, but they moderate how they express it. They understand not everything true should be said, and not everyone has depth to understand their heart. So they choose silence, choose to live quietly, choose to smile through misunderstandings, because peace is more valuable than being correctly understood. People who live discreetly aren't closed off. They keep the brightest part of themselves private. They still care, still help people, still live well. They just don't show off. They no longer want to prove anything. Because the more you try showing you're genuine, the easier you get exploited. The older we get, the more we understand. Live authentically only for truly genuine relationships. With most people, keeping distance, mystery, and guard is wiser. Not because we've changed, but because no one can live forever in a fake world and keep their heart intact. Part 6. Saying no is wisdom, withdrawing is strength. Some people suffer their whole lives because they can't say no. They fear disappointing others, fear judgment. But the more they accommodate the world, the more they lose themselves. Smart people understand that knowing how to refuse is wisdom, and knowing when to withdraw is life mastery. Stepping forward isn't always courage. Sometimes stepping back is wisdom. Refusing isn't coldness, it's maintaining boundaries. Withdrawing at the right time isn't fear. It's understanding some battles aren't worth losing peace over. Many fear being disliked, so they don't dare refuse. But the price of always saying yes is prolonged suffering. Once you can't say no, others assume you're always willing to take the hit. Kindness gets abused, and silence becomes a trap. Smart people don't do things because they're pressured, only when they find it worthy. Refusing is daring to live authentically. To say no, you need to know clearly who you are, what you need, where your limits are. Some people keep struggling in rotten relationships, exhausting jobs, fearing they'll be seen as failures. But people with true strength understand that knowing when to stop isn't losing. It's knowing you deserve better. They don't regret the past, don't fear loss, because some things must be released to make room to move forward. People who know how to refuse and withdraw at the right time aren't cold. They're deep. They don't waste energy on meaningless things. They choose peace over clinging to what's no longer worthy. Part 7. Less socializing creates inner peace and mental clarity. The more mature you become, the more you realize peace doesn't come from how many connections you have, but from how much meaningless stuff you've cut out. Modern life makes everyone busy socializing, maintaining images, pleasing others. But we forget our minds are gradually exhausted, our heads increasingly chaotic. Smart people clearly understand. Less socializing isn't closing your heart. It's keeping your mind peaceful and head clear. The foundation of wisdom. The calmer the mind, the brighter the intelligence. The more disturbed the mind, the dimmer the wisdom. When we get tangled in too many relationships, gossip, or drama, our minds have no room to think for ourselves. Then we react instead of reflect, rush instead of contemplate. But when we keep composure, everything becomes clearer, and we learn to view life with reason instead of emotion. People who socialize less aren't afraid of others. They understand the value of internal energy. Every meeting, every conversation is an energy exchange. Some people bring relief, others drain us. Smart people choose carefully. They're not afraid of being alone. They only fear being next to people who weigh down their hearts. When the mind is at peace, the head becomes clear. When the head is clear, wisdom emerges. The less you socialize, the more time you have to listen to yourself to ask, is this worth it? Is this person real? Am I living true to my heart? Only those who know self-reflection don't need to scrutinize others. The bottom line, growth means knowing when to walk away. Maturity isn't about connecting with many people, it's knowing when to leave. Smart people don't need crowds to prove they're strong. They just need enough peace to live authentically. Because when your heart is at peace, even being alone feels warm. When your heart is chaotic, you feel lonely even among 100 people. Learning to avoid empty relationships isn't selfish, it's awareness. People who understand life know that silence and distance are natural filters for those who are genuine. Not everyone deserves to walk beside you, and not everyone you lose is actually a loss. American culture has long celebrated extroversion, networking, and being on all the time. From LinkedIn influencers to endless happy hours, to maintaining hundreds of social media connections, we've been sold a lie that more relationships equal more success. But the wisest among us know something our elders knew. Quality beats quantity, every time. The most successful, peaceful, and genuinely happy people aren't the ones with 10,000 connections. They're the ones who've mastered selective socializing. In a world that never stops talking, the person who knows when to be quiet holds the power. In a culture that glorifies busy schedules, the person who protects their solitude protects their sanity. Ready to reclaim your peace? Start by auditing your social commitments. Ask yourself, does this energize me or drain me? If it's the latter, you know what to do. Drop a comment sharing one social obligation you're ready to release. Sometimes naming it gives you power to let it go. Know someone drowning in social obligations and losing themselves? Share this article. Sometimes the most loving thing is giving someone permission to step back and choose themselves. Remember, your peace is not selfish. Your boundaries are not rude. Your solitude is not loneliness. It's wisdom. Stay selective. Stay peaceful. Stay true.